My beautiful friends, it is time. It is the time. Mountain Madness live in our group. Our first video on training tips, on getting ready for the mountains. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to have a microphone in within the next couple days. So let's get right in. So there's so much I could get into on today's topic. We're talking about ankles and knees, and I'm going to include the feet in there. You could do a whole hour video on each section. So I'm just kind of going to go over generally these parts. It's so important. Everyone's always thinking, okay, just train in the mountains, get your cardio in, do the strength training, and you're good. But really, we got to take care of the whole package. So if someone were to say, okay, I'm not trained and I'm going to the mountains and I'm going to be doing a week-long hike and I hardly have any time to train, what can I do to get ready? I would say work on your balance stuff. Work on your mobility in your feet, in your ankles, in your knees, because you're always going to be able to get through a hike. Even if you're not fit, you can still get through it. You might go slower. You'll still get through it, but you want to feel stable. You want to have a little bit of the balance there. So that's why I'm starting with this. And I'm telling you, like, especially I've been running for 33 years. I've been in the mountains for over 30 years. And yes, we go to the cardio portion like crazy. But now I really notice that I have to take care of the whole package. I'm nursing a little bit of an ankle tendon injury too. So we really have to kind of take shop, like give attention to what's calling out to you. And then you'll be fine in the mountains. So today, I'm just going to brush over stuff around the feet, ankles, knees. And if any of you want me to elaborate more on any of these things, message me and I can make a separate video on that, okay? Because everyone's coming in here different. Everyone's coming in with different issues. Some people have back issues, some people have hip issues, and they're all linked. Everything's linked. So my tendon issue here is coming actually from my hip, but it's manifesting through the compensation through my ankle, through my feet. So we always have to look at the whole structure, but for today's sake, we're just going to focus on each part. Now your feet carry you everywhere, and your feet are important. Number one, I call it foot love. You should at least, and I'm not going to ever say should, I'm going to recommend that you at least a few times a week get your bare feet. I walk around bare feet all the time. And get out in the grass and just walk bare feet. Not only to waken up the soles of your feet, like a reflexology, but it's also good to ground mentally, emotionally. If you're fired up and anxious, take your shoes off and walk slowly through the grass, okay? Or at least through the house with bare feet. So there's a lot of people I know with runners, because a lot of these next 2 weeks are also good for runners, mountain runners. We have to pay attention to the feet too, especially the toe, the big toe. The big toe does a lot in running and hiking. So if you have issues in your toes, then you want to be looking at them. Hey, Teresa. Yeah, girl. Good morning. So I hope you guys can see me, because I'm going to be sitting on this mat. Maybe I'll pull back a bit, because I can't really see here. Okay, so the toe. So I'm going to start seated. And what I like to do for the feet is, number one, any of these exercises you can just throw into your regular training routine, your strength training routine, you can throw these in anywhere. So I like to do like a knuckle massage on the base of my feet, from the top to the bottom and up and down, and just give attention to them. And the big toe to flex, to extend and flex. Back and forth. Separate. And take the other toes and separate it. I had a toe injury last year, and this was really difficult for me. I had to do it a lot. And you're probably thinking, what the heck is she talking about the toe? The toe, the big toe, is huge, right? It's like the rudder of a boat. It kind of guides your direction, and you use it on your push-offs. Okay, so get your hands right in there to separate each toe. There's also something called, I'm gonna just move this down because I don't know if you guys can see. I'm gonna move the camera down a bit. Maybe that's better. Yes. So like toe flossing, taking your fingers and putting your fingers between each toe. It's not so easy. And then once they're in there, just kind of moving it back and forth. When we're in shoes all day, everything just kind of gets stuck like a blob. So what we want to do is open things up. This will also help with the plantar fasciitis if people have issues there, amongst many other things we're doing. So you want to get some mobility and movement in there and blood flow in there. So don't neglect the toes, okay? Another thing besides pouring love into it and massaging your foot is just doing a walk on that big toe. I had to do this a lot last year because my big toe wasn't working. Just to get the mobility back in it. I even feel it still today. So you go into just a takeoff practice, rolling off. You're also stretching the base of your foot. Okay? Guys, this session may be a little longer than 20 minutes I wrote, but I'm just gonna go for it. So I just wanna make sure, yeah. And when you're standing, practice raising just your toe separate to your big toe separate to your other toes. It's not so easy. But have it as an individual thing, right? Practice that. And practice as you are rolling forward, the actual foot roll. So rolling in and then off. And the toe is a big part of that. So as you're doing it slow, you're practicing that natural foot roll, which is a little bit of pronation, and then coming forward, pushing off. Whether it's running or hiking, we're using that toe. So don't neglect her or him. Okay? So I'm going to move right into, with the feet, sorry. Taking a ball, golf ball, tennis ball, every time you hike or you run, rolling it as well is also good. Or something, tennis ball or some sort of thing to roll up the base of your foot is also awesome. Ankles. Okay. So with all of our training for the mountains, there's 3 things we got to work on. Your strength, your mobility, your stability. Okay? Mobility is number 1. So we want to get yourself mobile, build the strength, and get you stable. Okay? We need all 3 of those, as well as your cardio and your endurance in the mountains. But we need the whole package, right? So when you got the stability and the mobility, you're going to be able to recover better. If you do go into a little bit of a slip, or if you are in a narrow area, you're going to have that better balance when you can stabilize and more efficient. So we can always get through if we're not as in good a shape. But when we don't have the balance and the stability around the ankles, then you may roll an ankle, then you're not going to get through your hiking trip. So it's a good area to focus on. Number 1, sitting on your feet. So again, we're involving the big toe, dorsiflexion. So you're going to sit back, knees on the ground. Now, this is very difficult for a lot of people. Some people can't do this. It's great stretching the base of your feet and that toe getting the range of motion. And to be able to hold this for a minimum 30 seconds to even a couple minutes is very difficult for people. If you can't go to this point, because I don't know your foot issues, you can actually ease into it. Start on the hands. And then I feel the stretch now, just like this, with no weight. And maybe that's where you start. Okay, so we just take a step back. Part 2 to this first exercise is the opposite direction, flat. And I see just as many people with this issue where they don't have the mobility to have a flat foot there. So, again, easing in with that. Maybe you sit on a block. Maybe you're elevated a little more to ease in with that. So another big one. So we're on our toes first. So minimum 30 seconds. Then base again. If this is super easy for you, like I have no problem with it, then you can go just a little bit further and raise the knees and just take it a little bit further. Okay? So next one is a calf stretch. I'm going to use a yoga block. And we're going to do it in 3 different ways. Straight forward, so the ball of the foot is on the block. And you may be better to do this on a solid surface. I'm on soft now. So I'm getting that calf stretch, but I'm stepping forward so I can feel it kind of down the midline. Holding for a good 30 seconds. But then I'm also going to, it's a 3-way calf stretch. Then I'm going to turn my foot out and do it on that angle. And then I'm going to turn my foot in and do it on that angle. So I'm getting all ranges using the block. Again, better on a hard surface, not on a soft surface. Okay, so that's the number 2, the 3-way calf stretch. And number 1 is a deep lunge. Now, with this lunge, I'm going to intentionally put my knee over my foot to get into the ankle mobility. So here, we're actually aiming to keep your foot on the ground and just moving in and out. So if your foot's way up here, then ease into it. Move it forward a little bit, and then eventually taking it back, because there's going to be many scenarios on the mountain where your knees do go forward, and you want to be able to hold that base and have that ankle mobility. So here we're just going to go in and out, feeling it right away in this area. Of course, you always do both sides. Okay, so I'm not focusing on the hip flexor here. This is all about here, even though I'm stretching there. So now from that one, I can alternate that one and go right into ankle rolls. So here I can start with an ankle roll with a supported leg. I'm rolling, intentionally rolling my foot out and back in. And I want to kind of come back in, pronating a little bit, going out and back in. Then I want to be able to try that on one foot. Taking it in, mostly out, and then coming back to center, always coming back to center. So I would aim for about 15 reps, rolling it in and out. Maybe you need a little bit of stability first. Alternate with that one and the low. So you can do this and the other side, then come up and do your 15 reps, come back to the other one and come up here. Okay? Especially if you're someone that needs work around that area. So that's a little bit of the mobility we're getting in there. Now we're moving into, just checking back, we're moving into the strength portion. Calf raises. So calf raises here, we're going to do 3 ways, just like the stretch. I'm going to turn you up a bit. So calf raises, you can use something, you can use a tree or something to hold on, but I'm going to have my feet facing forward. I'm lifting, or I can do it free body like this. I'm coming on my toes. So another good one for toes, lift and up. So because it's a high endurance muscle, you can do a lot of reps, right? So you're lifting up the straight way up, body straight. And then I'm going to do it with my toes turned in. Then I'm going to do it with my toes turned out. 3-way. So you can do 20, 20, 20, and then work up to even 30. You'll be feeling that one the next day, I'll tell you that. And we're gonna be getting, you wanna do some calf massage as well with some rolling out. You can get someone else to do it, or you have your own black roll or something to roll out on. Another thing, I'm gonna pretend this is, my pitchfork is a wall. Hope you can hear me. I'm gonna sit on a wall. I'll do it over here. Wall sit. And I'm gonna focus on pulling my feet up towards the knees. So it's, again, shins, but I'm strengthening the front side. Lift, down. Again, you won't get a heck of a lot of reps in this one. Your quads may give out before. If they do, go up higher on the wall and just up and down and up and down and up. You can always throw quad stuff in there too. So moving on with the foot is one leg hops. Okay, again, working the base of the foot is awesome. And here, it's great for someone that does tend to have plantar fasciitis flare-ups. Maybe not when you're having flare-up, but we want to lift and drop. Hops on one foot, and you do the other side. I would start with 15 or 20 reps, because you want to be able to do that on both feet. And what we're going to move in here with the hops is into single leg balance. So I'm just going to rewind a little bit with the strength. We did the calf raises. We did the toe raises against the wall. Then we went into hops. And now we're going into single leg balance. I'm in a perfect area because my backyard is all uneven. There's potholes. So it's even better for balance. One leg. And just seeing how you are 1 foot. Some people find this super easy. This may be easy for some people. If it's really easy, then do it closing your eyes. Making sure your spine's tall, shoulder blades together. And then you're really working the base of your foot, ankle, stability, balance. And then you go to the other side, same amount of time, and you will probably feel a difference on one side or the other. Again, challenge yourself more closing your eyes or on an uneven surface or a softer surface. Okay, it's going to feel easier when you're on that harder surface. And the last one, a part of this, is called a praying mantis. It's kind of like a one leg squat as we're doing that balance. And so what we're doing here is we're making sure, a lot of knees want to internally rotate. We want to keep it external. We want to keep it over like that third toe. Okay, the knee is, with a lot of people in this move, is going to go in. And when you repeat that, like in a long height, over and over and over, in, that's going to do problems, knees and feet. So, practicing it in a heavier strength position. I'm balancing. I'm sitting back on the hip here. And then I'm going to go down so as low as I can, aiming, watching where my knee is. Okay? If it moves in, I'm guiding it back out. Okay? If that's too much to start, support on the toes. So remember, these are things to add into your current training, to add in. Add in some juice. Other side. Again, so if you're a big pronator, you may find your knee goes in quite a bit. So we want to guide, this is direct attention to guide it out over that third toe as you drop down. Okay, so you can do reps here. You can do about 10 reps, but you can also go for time, aiming for about 60 seconds per side. Okay, so now we're going to go to the knees. Now, amongst all your strengthening in the workouts, we're going to have some strengthening workouts later this week. I'm just adding these few things in because all the strength stuff we're doing is going to help around here as well, because we want to build the muscles, but we also want to be flexible around there. So the first one I'm going to do is, it's like a deadlift, good mornings. So spine tall, feet apart. And I'm just going to bend down to where I feel that stretch. Hold it. I can keep my hands hinging at the hips. Make sure your spine's long. And then lift up. Bend down again. If you want to add, if you want to intensify, you can add in some shoulder, taking the thumb out. So good. It's turning on the core and back muscles. Okay. Good morning. And then adding on to the calf raises we were doing, for the knees now, this is called a bent knee calf raise. So we're intentionally bringing the knees forward. So let's see if you can, am I low enough here? There we go. So we're intentionally bringing the knees forward. So my knees, I'm lifting my heels and I'm leaning back a bit. So it's heel raise, drop. Heel raise, drop. So with these calf raises, I'm also going to get that quad stretch as it's holding, as it's a constant. You're going to get it all. So adding in the knee portion into these calf raises. Okay? And up on that toe. And then we're going to do what we call like a sissy squat. Only a certain level of it. Okay, so it's moving the knees forward and back up. So you're actually leaning back. And again, these exercises are going to depend where you're coming from, right? If you have a knee injury now, or you're rehabbing from something, you don't do this right away. So you get the basic squat first. But because in hiking, we're so much in positions where we got a backpack on, we're leaning back, we got to turn on the core, and we can overstretch our quad. But that happens like in a millisecond when we're on trail. We can get pulled back, or we lose our balance and the knee goes forward, but it's about how can I bounce back, right? So we can build that strength by leaning back a bit. I mean, some people will do this going all the way down. Again, don't go all the way down if it's your first one. Okay, just allowing the knees to move forward. Very different, of course, to your regular squat. Okay, then I'm going to finish here with a one leg balance. I love this one. Again, this is again a knee forward. And this is just a balancing one. I'm turning on my core, allowing my knee to move forward, keeping it over the third toe. And all I want to do is just maintain this for aiming for at least a minute. You can even work up to 2 minutes. So your quad is going to burn very quickly. Just going to breathe through it. You can also add kind of moving that other leg around. So we're balancing over that toe. Hold it. If you need to stop, take a little break. And then you come back in. So we're allowing those knees to move forward. Feet's on the ground. Now I'm going to do the other side. So line up the toe. Knee on top, shoulders back. So you can add these into your regular full body workouts that you're doing, just to add a little more specific, sport specific. Really feeling the foot working here. Lean back a bit so it can get that stretch. And now coming up. My friends, that's all I got for you today. But I just wanted to start from the ground up. Feet are so important, right? First thing that hits the ground is we're hiking, unless you're handstanding hiking. So really pay attention to your feet. And I mean, in the most corny way possible, pour love into your feet. I started doing that when I started getting little mini injuries, like the toe one. I would just have to pour my own attention into it, not ignore it anymore, because these babies carry you everywhere, right? And for the shoe, you got to find the right shoe for you that feels good in the feet. So the feet on a hike, they're number one. They're not happy or comfortable, you're not happy. Okay, so you want to start adding in some of these exercises that I show you. Doesn't mean you have to do all of them. Some of you may have specific things you got to work on. Some of you more stability, some of you more mobility, some of you a little bit of everything. So kind of pick and choose what you think is going to be good in your program, and then message me if you want a little bit more. Like, Carrie, can you do a little bit more thing on the foot? Can you go more in depth on the foot? Or can you do more, a full session just on ankles, or anything? If you want like a specific thing, or I've had this injury, how can I come back from that? Okay, but we're moving from the ground up. And I definitely, so your action step for the day, take off your shoes, take off your socks, and walk in the grass. Yesterday, after a walk with Lily, where's Lily? The last 3 kilometers, I just took off my shoes and walked on the road. And at first it's a little uncomfortable, but then it just feels good. You get tingles through your whole body. So I think it's good, it's healthy, but if you're not used to doing it, then I wouldn't start with 3 kilometers. I would start with walking a little bit around your house, walking on the grass a bit, and then you can increase that, because I think it's so important to keep it alive at the base of your foot, because when we don't, that's when we run into foot problems. Just like very cushioned shoes can sometimes cause problems. That doesn't mean it's true. That's just my personal opinion. But we also have to get used to being with minimal, to enliven the feet again, to support the body. That's it. Anyhow, guys, thanks for showing up. You're awesome. Annie, Teresa. Oh, I love you girls. You're amazing. Who else was there? Anyhow, so you can see this video anytime. It's going to be in the group. And you can tap into any of these exercises. I'll write them in on this group as well, so you can pick the ones that are good for you. Anyhow, guys, peace out. I'm going to be talking to Annie Banani tomorrow, having a little interview, and we're going to be streaming it live through here on her adventure experiences. Anyhow, guys, have the best day ever. Pitter patter. You're awesome. Mwah.